Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again to the Crew First Culture podcast. And this is Jeremy, as always, thank you very much for spending some time with me today. So, today, just solo, no guest, but I have really had a lot kind of on my mind and really heart to share and to get out, but haven't been able to make myself sit down and do it. So I want to kind of talk to you about a few things today, just to get some of that out. And really a lot of the thought processes I've been going through here lately have came through a new podcast that I've kind of came across, and definitely want to put that out there for anybody that hasn't heard of it and give it a try. It's called the Serendipity Podcast with Inky Johnson. So, just real quick, I came across Inky Johnson on YouTube. I can't even remember why now. It's been a couple months, but probably looking up, inspirational messages or whatever. But he he's got some really, really great YouTube videos and things like that. Just a little background to him. He was a NFL caliber secondary position player back in the I believe the mid late '90s. Played for Tennessee, and one play changed the course of his life. He basically did something to his neck that caused his right arm to be completely paralyzed. So, you know, living through that, and thankfully for him and for really everybody else that has had the chance to hear from him, he found that his purpose wasn't on the football field. His purpose was to share his story and his message with anyone that will hear it. And so, great message that he has. And this podcast, really, every time I listen to it, I find myself writing some things down. So just to kind of to get into it from there, I this quote has been brought up a couple times in the podcast, so I looked it up right before I started recording just to kind of try to pinpoint the exact person to, attribute this to. And come to find out, there's lots of people that have said something very similar to this. So I don't even know who to give the accurate quote to. So basically, I'm just going to kind of reword it how it speaks to me, and we'll go from there. So this is my kind of paraphrased version of it. Never allow yourself to fear failure, but fear succeeding at something that doesn't matter. So, when I heard that, when I every time I hear it, basically, it really screams to me. It speaks to me very loudly, of just really what I want to be about. That's what I want to pursue. Oh, I do want to be successful and this or that. I do want to, strive for excellence in, several areas. I don't want to be a failure. I know failure is part of the process, but I I don't need and I don't want to fear that failure. I don't want the future of where I go, or the future of my purpose, or the future of my message, or whatever is possible, to be dictated by the fear I have of failing. I want it to be dictated by the fear of what is to come doesn't matter. And I hope that kind of speaks to some of you out there as well, like it does to me. because it's a pretty deep thought. There's lots and lots of people that are successful out there, but what percentage of those people are truly successful in something that matters, something that positively affects the world, something that blesses people around them? And what percentage of those people are just successful in the world standards of the term successful? They came out with a cool, innovative product, and lots of people love it. Lots of people think it's, beautiful or intriguing or whatever. So they bought it. That means that this person that created it and sold it is now successful monetarily wise. But what else? What else is there to that story? Is there anything else to that story? Is that product something that is positively impacting these people's lives, or is it just a fancy thing that is bought and then a couple years replaced because there's something better? So again, I feel like there's a lot to be said and a lot to be thought about with that statement, and kind of thinking through that whole quote or statement has kind of led me to some of the directions I've headed lately. And anybody that's listened to some of the most recent episodes, there's been a lot revolving around the word purpose. If you haven't heard the episode with Mark Alone and Jared Sergi on mission, vision, and purpose, I want to please recommend to go listen to it, because that was just great listening to two really smart, really good fire service people, fire service leaders, give their kind of ideas and perspectives on what those words mean. And to me, it really helped me. And even though it kind of proved me wrong and how I was thinking, or at least it conflicted with what I was thinking, it started to unveil to me that there's much more to all of this than just what it means to have a vision and what it means to have a mission or mission statement. It started revealing to me that it's all about purpose. It's about my purpose. Why am I here? What have I been sent to do, and who have I been sent to be? And so just thinking through that, and this really just came to me on my way home this morning, but I think it's very clear now. And I say now because this will probably change in a couple days, or in a week, or in a month, when I talk to somebody else, and more is kind of unveiled, and my eyes are open in a different way. But for me right now, I feel like I can very distinctly just lay out what my purpose is. And I almost, to not sound egotistical, hopefully, but I almost feel like this can be everyone's mission, or I'm sorry, everyone's purpose. All of the details are different, but overall, this is our purpose. And I'll say this is my purpose. I can't speak for anybody else, but I am 100% sure right now that this is my purpose. And that is to use the life I've lived and the message that God has placed on my heart to be a blessing to others. Period. That's it. It's not anything elegant that you frame and put on walls. It's not complicated, and it's just, that's what it is. I've lived a life full of very, distinctly personal situations that only I have faced, trials that I have faced, situations that myself and my family have had to live through, challenges we have had to beat, obstacles we've had to overcome. All of these things are me, are my story, my life, that nobody else has lived completely the same as myself. So having all of those life situations and things that I've been through, and them being so unique to myself, no one else can share that story. That's my story. Nobody can share it because nobody else has lived through everything. So, that's what I talk about or that's what I mean when I said the life I've lived. The life I have lived, good and bad, failures and accomplishments, wins and losses, and more losses and more losses and more losses. All of it has led to where I am right now, who I am right now. And that is 100% unique to me. So that is the life I've lived. The other part of this is the message that God has placed on me, on my heart, to share with others. And once again, I feel like that is 100% unique to me as well. Are there others out there that God has placed a message on their hearts that is similar, or very, very, almost the same? Yeah, absolutely. But they're still going to be sharing it from their perspective. They're still going to be sharing it from the knowledge and experience and the character of who they are. And so it's going to be different from mine. Even if the content is very similar, the delivery is going to be different. And so those two things, the life that I've lived to this point and the message that God has placed on me, my purpose in life are to share those things in order to hopefully bless others. Is that going to be 1,000 others? Is it going to be one other? I don't know. It's not my job to know or to keep track of or to even care about, honestly. My role in all of this is to just do the work, of sharing what I have been given. Another quote that I've heard in some of their episodes that applies directly to this, that I really love, is every next level in my life demands a new version of me. So think about that for a second. How many times have we gone through things or in the middle of going through things, and all we want to do is complain about what we're going through. All we want to do is for people to feel sorry for us for what we're facing. All we want to do is to be, trying to think of the term. I don't think this is absolutely the best term, but we want to be liberated from that obstacle or that, whatever's keeping us in a bad place. That's all we want. We want to be freed from it. But maybe we need to focus on the good that is becoming, the good that is coming from that obstacle, that diversity, that struggle, that challenge. Because when that next challenge comes, when that next obstacle shows up in our way, it's going to demand a different version of me, a different version of me that will not exist if I don't face the challenges that have come before it. I've looked back on my life a lot. And really, when I say that, I, I almost want to say that really it's just the last probably 20 years, 20 plus years, barely. So basically half of my life, the first half, I was a kid, I was a teenager, I was learning, obviously, going through things and making mistakes and same thing as everybody else. But that breaking point of when you're on your own, you're creating a life of your own, a family of your own. You are responsible for not only you, but now your family. That's almost like chapter 2, or really even section 2, or whatever. You got the first part of your life that is huge as far as who you're becoming and all of that. But nothing really matters until that second part of life comes around and you are put to the test of being the one responsible for everything, for yourself, for your family, and whatever else. That's that's when it becomes truly the real test of life. And so I bring that up just to say that when I look back on my life, I don't often look back on times before that, before I was 20 years old. Pretty much everything I look back on is that 20, probably 22 years old to now, which I'm 44. That second half of my life to this point. And there has been an incredible amount of activities and situations and obstacles and just hard situations that myself and my family have had to make it through. But I honestly would never, ever go back and change any of them. As hard as they were, as bad as they hurt, as much as sometimes I didn't know if I or we were going to make it to the end of it, I still wouldn't go back and change that, because every one of those situations happened because I needed to gain something from it, just a piece, maybe even just something so minute that I I didn't recognize it then. I might never recognize it, but I got something from each and every one of those situations that I needed to survive later on. Some of those lessons I had to learn a lot of different times. I made the same mistake over and over and over again in certain areas. I had to face a lot of pain, a lot of more difficult moments in the future than they should have been, because certain areas I just refused to learn my lesson. And some other lessons were easy to learn. I faced something once and said, okay, I got it. I'm good. I won't let that happen again. But whatever it is, every one of those situations has helped me to become a different version of myself when I made it through. And every next situation, every next obstacle that I faced after that required me to have already downloaded those lessons. And the ones that I didn't truly learn from, I paid the consequences for it until I did. And so I say that to go back once again and say that I don't ever want to look back on my life and the things that we have gone through, and the choices I've had to make that I didn't ever want to make, or the things that we have had to face that I wish myself or my kids never had to face. I would never change those, even if I could, because they have made me, they have made my family who we are. And they are continuing to, refine me into who I need to be in the future. And so, it's a huge thing. And I'll say it again, just because I've been rambling for a while and you might have forgotten the point, but every next level in my life demands a new version of me. So think about that next time you're kind of facing something. You're struggling, you're dealing with some hard times. As hard as it may be, as ridiculous as it may seem, we should be thankful for those times because they are preparing us for something in the future that's going to be even harder. So that's something that, you know, something to think about. I really, I just love this whole kind of conversation. What we all bring to the table. And I guess I'll kind of end it on this just to tie it together. Don't ever underestimate the power of telling your story. Never underestimate the power of telling your story. There are a few people that I know that you look at them, and the more you get to know them, it's like, man, you really act like you've never faced any challenges in your life. It seems like you have just kind of scooted through life without being, really challenged, really put to the test. But those same people that I know that I would almost catch myself saying that about, I also, now that I've gotten to know them beyond just surface stuff, I know that there are a lot of things that they have dealt with, things that I don't even know, personally how it felt to deal with pain and challenges. So I can't judge anybody, and I better not catch myself judging anybody by, who they appear to be. Everybody's facing a challenge that you don't know about, right? Everybody you see, they're in the middle of their own battle. You may know about it, you may not. And I have been that person a lot. I've been that person that was fighting my battles when nobody knew. So I knew that I know that's 100% true. But to go back into it, I'll say it again. Do not ever underestimate the power of telling your story. Tell your story. Somebody out there needs to hear it. Somebody out there needs to know that what you went through is something that you have made it passed. You have defeated the challenge. You have overcome the obstacle. You have learned and grown through whatever process that you've been through, because somebody out there is going through it themselves right now, and they need to hear that it's possible, that they're not alone. And you very well could be the only person that could be there for them in that way. So keep that in mind. You know, a lot of us are private people. We don't like to share our business, our dirty laundry, whatever you want to say, however you want to call it. But what's the point of going through those hard times, those struggles, if we go through them for nothing? Because that's exactly what we have done if we don't use them to bless others, if we don't use them to help others overcome similar situations. That's what it feels like to me. If I don't share those situations and lessons and experience that I have faced, then I did it for nothing. I went through all of that for nothing because I'm not using it to benefit anybody in the future. So I'll leave you with that. I hope that I said something that it brings some things to mind, that kind of stirs some thoughts in you, maybe touches you in a way that you needed to be kind of spoken to. I don't know. I hope so, because these thoughts have really been in the forefront for me here lately, and I think there's so much to be, just we could dig and dig and dig and forever into these topics and just continually get good stuff and good conversations from it. But leaving you with that, I just want to say, please keep at it. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep pushing yourself outside that comfort zone. That's where the good things are. That's where the blessings are. That's where the growth is. That's where we want to be. Thank you for your time. Once again, as always, if you have the time to rate, review the podcast, I'm love to send you some stickers just as a way to show you my appreciation for that time you spent. So please reach out to me if you have, and give me a text or direct message that you did so, and I'll get you some stickers out to say thank you. But if you like the podcast, please share it with others and just help me get the message out that I've been given. It's not about me, anything. I know that I've been sent here for a reason, and I'm trying my best to find that reason. I'm trying my best to share that reason. So I hope you have a great day, a great week, whatever it is, until we talk again. And until then, stay humble and do work. Thank you.